So the new film from the writer and director of Barbarian presents a compelling and unsettling premise. The story of Weapons revolves around a town that descends into chaos after an entire class of schoolchildren, except for one boy, mysteriously disappear at exactly 2:17 AM on the same night. Surveillance footage from doorbell cameras captures the children leaving their homes under unexplained circumstances, appearing to run into the night with their arms outstretched like they've been weaponized. The whereabouts and motivations of the children remain unknown, leading to a tense atmosphere as the townspeople turn on one another in their search for answers. The film centers on the perspectives of several characters grappling with the aftermath of the disappearances. The main figures include Justine, played by Julia Gardner, a class teacher who has become the outcast of the town and the target for the parents' blame. She is initially depicted as a victim facing public disdain and personal challenges, including her own struggle with alcohol. But her story reflects her resilience and determination too, as she investigates the disappearance of her students, ultimately playing a vital role in their rescue. Then there's Archer, played by Josh Brolin, a father searching for his missing son Matthew. He is essentially the viewpoint of the grieving parents and is primarily motivated by loss and frustration, highlighting the urgent need for answers and the parents' difficulty in coping with the tragedy. There's also Alex, the sole student from Justine's class who remains after the disappearances of the other children. We learn that what happened is connected to his aunt Gladys and her dark rituals. Alex's internal conflict and his final act of defiance against Gladys is pivotal to the meaning of the film. And in mentioning Gladys, the main antagonist employs witchcraft and blood rituals to exert control over the children and other townspeople, embodying the theme of toxicity and manipulation. There's also other perspectives in the film, like Paul, the police officer that Justine has an affair with, Benedict Wong's Marcus, the school principal, and James, a homeless drug addict and burglar. We watch as the story unfolds through these characters' perspectives, a technique that was also used to a lesser degree by director Cregger in his previous work Barbarian. The narrative style allows the audience to gradually assemble the mystery surrounding the disappearances, and Cregger has noted that he drew inspiration from Paul Thomas Anderson's film Magnolia, informing this slow burn mystery and offering opportunities to delve into more character development and thematic depth. The various perspectives provide an opportunity to thoroughly examine the shortcomings of the community and the effects that the tragedy has on them. The day after the mysterious vanishings, Justine arrives at school to discover that Alex is the only student present in her class. A police inquiry is initiated into the disappearances of the other children, but it leads to no conclusions. The community turns its gaze towards Justine, casting suspicion and blame her way, particularly from Archer, the father of one of the missing children. During a meeting, Archer publicly confronts Justine, accusing her of withholding crucial information. Justine participates in interviews, but there are no revelations from the questioning. Consequently, the school principal Andrew Marcus puts Justine on leave as she faces isolation from the community at large. Justine, feeling downcast, turns to drinking, and in her state of depression, she rekindles her tumultuous romance with her ex, a married police officer Paul. She is haunted by recurring nightmares involving the missing children, and also sees a mysterious and weird-looking woman who we learn turns out to be Alex's Aunt Gladys. Worried for Alex's safety, Justine decides to follow him home, where she notices the windows are shrouded in newspapers. Conveniently looking through a gap at the back of the house, she sees Alex's parents sitting in a trance-like state. Concerned by this, she urges Marcus to check on their well-being and get the police to investigate Alex and his house. Marcus doesn't think this is necessary, as apparently his parents and aunt had already been questioned. So one night, Justine decides to go round Alex's house, and while asleep in her car outside, Alex's mum steps out and takes a lock of Justine's hair. This seems odd at first, but when we get the reveal behind Gladys, we learn more about why this exactly happened. Meanwhile, coming to the character of Archer, as the father of one of the missing children, he faces significant emotional challenges in the wake of his son's disappearance. He experiences similar nightmares to those of Justine, and frustrated with the slow progress of the police investigation, he takes the initiative to independently investigate the case. He observes that the missing children were all seen moving in the same general direction, yet he struggles to determine the specific location or house where they might have gone. During a tense encounter with Justine at a gas station, they are suddenly confronted by Marcus, who appears disoriented, controlled like the kids were, and covered in blood. Archer intervenes but is unable to restrain him. But once we eventually get to the perspective of Marcus a bit later in the film, we learn that Marcus had continued to chase Justine in her car down the road until he eventually got hit by a car and killed. So things seem to be getting weirder, and even the adults are in danger from the force that was controlling the kids. Moving on, when we come to the perspective of Paul, he confronts local thief and drug dealer James, and he accidentally pricks a used needle during his search of him. In a fit of anger, Paul assaults him and demands that he get out of town so it doesn't affect his job. Worrying about the consequences if James decides to report him, Paul becomes increasingly anxious. Later on, Justine persuades him to break his sobriety, leading to that one-night stand with her that we saw before. So what's clear is that all of these perspectives in the film overlap at certain points, and we see same events play out in different periods of time with different characters. This then moves us onto the perspective of James, who we learn eventually breaks into what he thinks is an empty house belonging to Alex, only to find Alex's parents entranced and discover that the missing children are locked away in the basement. He heads to the police to share his findings, hoping for a cash reward, but Paul, noticing James making his way to the police station, decides to follow him. James takes off into the woods where he sees a glimpse of Aunt Gladys waving back at him. While there, Paul eventually catches up to him, and James tells him that he saw the missing children in the basement at Alex's house. So after learning this, Paul drives him back to Alex's house, leaving him in the car while he goes inside. And hours later, we learn that Paul has now been possessed, dragging James into the house with him. After this, we come to the smallest character perspective of the film, which involves school principal Marcus, and we learn that Alex's Aunt Gladys had paid him a visit previously, asserting that Alex's parents are unwell and that she is now taking care of them. Later on, she stops by Marcus and his husband's home, and during a ritual, Gladys takes control of Marcus, compelling him to murder Terry before sending him in the pursuit of Justine. That's where we then get the gas station scene again, where Marcus is eventually hit by a car. It's here where we get the final flashback perspective, and it brings us into the final act of the film. After Justine and Archer come to terms with each other, realizing that neither of them is to blame, they learn that when all the kids ran away, they went to Alex's house. The final flashback perspective of Alex reveals that his caring parents warmly welcomed the gravely ill Gladys into their home. One day, Alex spots a weird potted tree in Gladys's room, and when he returns from school, he finds Gladys revitalized while his parents seem entranced by a spell. Gladys makes a chilling threat, warning Alex that she'll harm his parents if he ever reveals what she's up to. Alex watches on in horror as Gladys engages in witchcraft and rituals involving the tree, and he's left with the unsettling responsibility of caring for his parents. When Gladys starts to feel unwell again, she asks Alex for help in collecting a personal item from each of his classmates to possess them. Alex agrees, hoping that once she recovers, she will stop bothering his family and everyone else. By the following night, she summons all the kids in Justine's class to Alex's house using the tray labels he took from the classroom. Later, when Alex returns from school, he also finds Paul and James under her control now, which we did suspect after seeing what happened from their perspectives. This brings us to the end of the film, where Justine and Archer arrive at Alex's house, and we watch as they are ambushed by a possessed Paul and James. Meanwhile, Alex is on the run from his parents after he steps over a salt line that protects their spell by Gladys. In a desperate moment, Justine uses Paul's gun to shoot both Paul and James, saving her and Archer. While this happens, Alex mimics a ritual he had seen Gladys perform using a piece of her own hair. As he does so, Gladys's hold on the children breaks, and instead they turn against her. In a chaotic outburst that follows, the children break through the windows of the house and chase Gladys through town, eventually catching up to her and tearing her apart. With her death, the enchantment on Alex's parents is lifted, and Archer also reunites with his son. The ending on one side brings a sense of release as the kids exact their revenge on Gladys, but there's also a sense that something isn't quite right. The voiceover of the girl that first guided us into the film reveals at the end that some of the children remained silent for a long time after, with it taking time for them to find their voices again. It also suggested that Alex's parents were left changed by the situation, unable to heal from the control Gladys had over them. So it's clear that the trauma from this event will linger with both the children and the adults of the town for the rest of their lives. And not just due to the mental control and lives lost because of Gladys, but also because the children have to live with the violence they now committed in securing their own safety. It's evident that the effects of Gladys's magic are long-lasting, which likely accounts for the deteriorated state of the victims. The children have a greater chance of making a recovery, yet as we gaze into Archer's son's eyes in the final shot of the film, we can't help but question if Archer truly regained his son. One of the fascinating aspects of Weapons is the inherent ambiguity of it, as it doesn't deliver a single clear message to the audience. Instead, there are numerous interpretations regarding the bizarre occurrences in Maybrook, leaving it to viewers to determine which perspective resonates most with them. While it can certainly function on a fundamental horror level, the narrative delves into various deeper themes that extend beyond just the surfaced horror elements. Throughout much of the film, the narrative dives into the different reactions of the townspeople as they face the crisis together. This variety of responses ultimately fractures the community from within, leading individuals to turn against one another due to unaddressed worries and fears. The blame for the issue to begin with, i.e. Justine, highlights how easily people lean towards theories as a means to rationalize horrific incidents. So this theme alone provides a fascinating modern perspective on the unfolding drama at the very centre. There's also the idea that the film serves as a more specific allegory for school shootings and the impact they have on communities as a whole. But I think a closer examination of the character of Gladys reveals another potential idea, and that is the detrimental influence of toxic culture. The concept of a classroom filled with children being manipulated and turned into instruments of harm by an unseen force, with their parents and teachers powerless, resonates deeply in today's world. The film's conclusion, where the children are freed yet still appear emotionally missing, hints at the long-lasting effects of trauma. While they may have escaped a horrifying experience, both they and their community have been changed for good. The director of the film admitted that he didn't have a concrete explanation for every aspect of Weapons during its writing process, but he mentioned that the movie captures that intense feeling when you experience the loss of someone you knew. He said, "You just have all this emotion, and it's better to just start writing characters that are feeling the emotions you are feeling. For me, it was a cathartic experience." So reflecting on what the director said, I believe that Weapons ultimately explores how suppressed traumas can inflict pain on others, and that the hurt that is projected can come back on the people who cause it. In essence, anyone can be their own weapon. For more videos on upcoming releases like Weapons, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, rating, and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.